Hey, 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 welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, y'all. Hey, y'all. Welcome, welcome. Can y'all tell that I'm excited? I really am. Super excited. This is a big milestone. I stuck to my guns, y'all. I showed up every single week. I don't even know how many weeks we've been going now, but I stuck with it. And behind the scenes, if you've been paying attention, I don't know if you've been paying attention or where you following me from or how you're seeing my content, but I've been consistent like I don't know what. I've been that girl. I've been my future self. I've been showing up consistently, not just for this book reading series, but also in content creation, which was something that held me back for a very long time. I had every excuse in the world of why I could not show up consistently, but becoming supernatural, being her right now before it happens, every day I just embodied a new version of myself. Welcome, 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 Jermaine. I just embodied a new version of myself. I'm so proud of me for continuing to show up. We made it, y'all. We made it to chapter 14, but this is literally just the beginning. When I tell you this is just the beginning, I promise you, this was literally the catalyst that I needed to step into my future self. This was the promise that I kept to myself because I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. I got tired of the familiar. I got tired of the program, the routines, the things that seemed to never change. And I knew that the common denominator was me. I was the common denominator in all the things that didn't change. So thank God that Dr. Joe's work came across my path, and I was already activated and ready to learn and ready to grow and ready to be another version of myself, because all the grandmaster teachers that I talk about, they all taught me this one thing: if you want to see change in the world, you must become it. And I think that's why Dr. Joe Dispenza, part of my book, by the way, I lost the cover because I opened this book so much. Somebody said, "Do you make your clothes? You're fly all the time." Jermaine, I do not make my clothes, but I am the daughter of a hairstylist and an iconic fashionista. My grandmother, she unfortunately passed away, but she died a legend in her church for all of her fashion. So it's in me, not on me. And I really appreciate your compliment because I love fashion. That's part of what I want to share more of too. But I'm finding a way to, while I love talking about transformation and spirituality, I'm finding a way to weave in all of my passions so that none of that gets lost in translation. I don't just want to be the girl that shows off clothes. Material things are great. And I feel like fashion is a divine expression. Thank you, Jermaine. I feel like fashion is a divine expression of how you choose to show up in the world. But I figure also, if you're going to look, I'm going to give you something to look at and we're going to have something to talk about because I could go deep. But without further ado, I'm so happy for everybody that showed up at 8 p.m. on Friday night. I do not take that lightly. I thank you. I thank you for trusting me and for caring enough to show up here for yourself. So, if you're new here, I'm Brittany. Hey, your manifesting mentor. I'm not a coach, I'm not a guru, but I'm a woman who walks the walk and who shares what works. Jermaine says, "Where am I located?" I'm located in sunny South Florida, Jermaine. I'm a Miami girl. I am a Miami girl. Come to, where is that? Boston? BP? Are you saying Boston? I think that's what you're saying. I've been to Boston. I have some friends in Boston. But, we'll see what life takes me. I feel like the internet allows me to be more global. So, location is subjective at this point. But again, if you're new here, I'm a woman who walks the walk and who shares what works. And we are closing out Becoming Supernatural series with one of the last live sessions of this series. And it's bringing everything full circle. Someone says, randomly came across your short scrolling through YouTube. And I'm so happy that I did. Literally just said I may need to fast to get on track. And you popped up. Listen, welcome. I call that divine intervention because nothing happens by coincidence. It's your energy calling your answers to you. So welcome, and I'm so glad you found me. But we've been reading chapter by chapter here of Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza, and it's been transforming lives. I don't know if y'all saw my different shorts where I'm showing the social proof, people commenting, saying that their lives are being changed, that they are changing so much, they're regulating their nervous system, they're feeling a lot more peace in their day to day life. And do you know how valuable that is? Because we buy material things. We want the house, the relationship, all the things, the tangibles, the matter to matter, because we think it's going to give us peace, or we think it's going to give us joy, or we think it's going to give us happiness. But this work is showing us that all of that comes from within. That comes from within. I made a video because someone asked me, what have you manifested? And when I read their comment, they didn't just comment once, they commented a few times on different videos within like a short amount of time. So they were like, what have you manifested? And for me, it was triggering because I'm like, what you want me to list off, rattle off a resume of what am I doing that for? To prove to you that I should be able to share this information? I thought that that's where they were coming from. So I immediately took offense. But I realized after a few exchanges that they were saying they weren't caring about the material things. They were more so asking what I manifested in terms of my change. And I shared with them peace. I manifested peace. I manifested clarity. I have harmonious relationships because of my choice to tune in every single day to the divine, to recognize my own program, to recognize my own patterns, and to change the ones that no longer serve me or my relationships or the circumstances that I'm tied to. So I became that change through this work. So over the past few months, we've gone chapter by chapter through Dr. Joe Dispenza's Becoming Supernatural. And it's been more than just a reading, it's been a transformation. We've explored how the body is not just a machine, it's a pharmacy, y'all. How our nervous systems hold the key to our healing, how coherence in the heart and brain can literally change our frequency, how manifestation is not just about wishing, it's about becoming, right? So much to unpack in this chapter. And it starts with chapter 14, where we share real stories of real people. I'm talking about people who are on the brink of death, people who help souls cross over. There was a moment where two friends had like a telepathic love thing going on, where they felt each other through the ethers and sent messages to each other. Yeah. Um, but the common thread is that they all shifted their reality. And we see this common thread not just in this book, but on Dr. Joe Dispenza's YouTube channel. If you've ever visited his channel, he has a playlist, Stories of Transformation. These are regular, every single day people from all different cultural backgrounds, all different religious backgrounds, and they are having transformations happen in their lives, miraculous healings, shifts in their perception of who they think they are, transforming their relationships, helping other people heal or transform their circumstances. And it's not coincidence, it's our nature. But we get to witness them do it and shift their realities, which is social proof for us to know that if they can do it, so can I. Right. And that's what I appreciate about these teachings, that we don't need to wait for crisis to begin our transformation. That what this book taught us is that what we've practiced together, even in our individual lives, is how we meet life with intention, to tune into the field of infinite possibilities, to regulate ourselves in the midst of chaos. And we know how chaotic it is right now in the world. I don't even have to list the resume of what's happening. Y'all see the headlines. We all see it. We all feel it collectively. And collectively, those of us who are activated, if you're on this live, you're one of those of us that I'm about to talk about. But you're not just being called to this work to improve your quality of life. You're being called to this work because this world needs it. It needs more energy. It needs higher frequencies. It needs people to operate in higher frequencies. It needs us to show up not just for ourselves, but for each other. But you got to start with self, because if you're no good for you, you're no good for anybody else. That's just my rule of thumb in life. I got to take care of me. I got to regulate my nervous system. I got to feel good in my body. I got to feel good in my life before I could fully embrace stepping into the world and really helping another. You got to put on your own life jacket, and then you could be so much more useful to other people. Or as Reverend Ike would say, Reverend Ike, if you don't know Reverend Ike, Google his name on YouTube, and but he is one of the goats. But as he would say, the best way to help the poor is to not be one of them. And I could translate that into multiple things. The best way to help the chaotic is to not be one of them. The best way to help the miserable is to not be one of them, right? Like, you don't want to match the energy of what's no longer serving any of us. You want to be on a higher frequency so that your frequency can then influence your environment and people in your environment. And that's exactly what Dr. Joe says we are doing in this. A little segue, if you don't mind. But even before reading this book, I knew this journey intuitively. Back in 2017, I published a book. It's titled I Want It All. I don't know if you can see it, but it's a vision book journal for manifesting dreams. It is an interactive journal, and it's a classic tool for spiritual visioning, scripting, and tuning into your future self. And what I didn't know back then was that this journal would become a mirror, literally, for me, because it helped me to discover who I needed to become to live the life that I envision. And in fact, there's a section titled um, Becoming the One. Who do I need to be? Now, I had this section title. Again, this book was written long before I came into Joe's work. So I didn't even know he had Becoming Supernatural. I didn't know it existed. But I knew intuitively that if I wanted to change my life, I needed to become a different version of myself. And it aligns perfectly with the message of Dr. Joe's book, Becoming Supernatural. It asks, who do I need to be to hold the frequency of my dream life? In fact, I've realized that this journal, just like the work in Becoming Supernatural, is a space, it's a safe space to place symbols, ambitions, affirmations, reminders all around you, just like Dr. Joe teaches in this book. So basically, to keep yourself tuned in even when life gets messy. I don't know if you guys are seeing something, but I'm seeing something where my image is purple. Can you guys see that? Is that happening for you? I just need to know. Let me know in the comments because I see some of y'all are still here, but I want to make sure that I'm not having technical issues. I'm purple. Oh, wonderful. Now ask me if I know how to change that. I absolutely don't. Let's see. If I share my screen. No, I don't know how to change that, guys. You see how the technology just be technologying? Okay, let's see. I don't know how to change that. And I'm afraid that if I refresh, it's going to cut off my live. So you know what? I'm just gonna have to be Barney tonight. Can y'all still hear me? Because if you can still hear me, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going. It's a little weird, but comment below if you can still at least hear me and if my video has not cut off. And then if so, I will keep going. I'm just gonna be Barney the dinosaur tonight. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Who is this? Oh, you said yes, no worries. Okay, well, let's just keep it going. So basically, I realized that my book, yep, keep going. I absolutely, because that's what we do in life. I became supernatural and we just keep going. So basically, this book is a space to place symbols, affirmations, and reminders all around you, just like Dr. Joe teaches in Becoming Supernatural, which we're purple supernatural right now. Even when life gets messy, and it will get messy, because look at this. Look at me being purple and stuff, right? So I did want to leave us with some prompts to consider. Um, Keep moving and improving. Basically, that's it, y'all. Like, and because we're learning how to keep it moving and keep improving, we are going to be the most valuable people in the room. If you are watching this right now, the transformation that you're doing on yourself, doing this inner work and demonstrating like what I'm doing right now, keeping it going. I didn't have a meltdown. We just going to keep it moving. what you're doing is you're being a beacon of light in the midst of chaos. When everybody else breaks down, has a meltdown, crashes out, you're going to be the one to say, nope, we keep going. We move. And your energy, your demonstration is literally going to be a beacon of light for other people. And so this is what this work is really about. And as a segue, I want to get into some of the prompts that I want to leave us with tonight. And I really want you to meditate on these questions. And if you're feeling really generous, you could go ahead and comment below just to keep it engaging. And other people are going to watch this in hindsight. That's usually how it works. But what is one practice from this book that you've integrated into your daily life? I want you to really think about, amen. I want you to think about what's one practice, if you've been following this series, or if you are in a different chapter, whatever the case may be, what's one practice from this book that you've integrated into your daily life? And I've been sharing along the way the entire time that one practice that I've been implementing consistently is meditations and just a moment to moment awareness of coming back to myself. And I say coming back to myself because we get lost in the program. Our subconscious is what we mostly dwell in throughout the day. This person says stay focused and stay prayed up. That's a great one. Absolutely. But we live in our subconscious throughout the day. We don't understand how much our subconscious runs the program. And when I find myself in the midst of a program reacting to something that really shouldn't be getting my energy like that, uh, I find myself being aware of when I'm doing it. And when I catch myself, I pull myself back out of the program and I get clarity. Maybe I do a meditation, some breath work, or just be aware and decide to change in the moment. And that's something that I do in my daily life. So I really want you to share here in the comments or as a prompt on your own in your journaling time, you know, what's something that you've integrated from these teachings from Dr. Joe in this book that has helped you in your daily life? Next question. This person says, I pray and meditate as soon as I wake up every day. Yes, ma'am. Or sir. I don't know who you are. Like, what's your name, by the way? The one who just said that. I pray and meditate as soon as I wake up every day because I cannot see your name. Um, Jasmine, welcome, Jasmine. I love that you pray and meditate every single day as soon as you wake up. That's actually a practice that I've been doing for years now. Even before Dr. Joe, I don't know if I learned it from my upbringing, Christian Baptist background, my grandmother, but I just understood that setting the tone for my day makes a world of a difference. And now that I know the science behind it, I really do it. So, Jasmine, thank you for sharing. Someone says decluttering, cleansing, cleaning, fasting, drink more water, and exercise. Absolutely. Those are great practices. Those are absolutely great practices. And being consistent with that, I know your body loves you. Your body has to love you being consistent with those things. But one of the things I know is that we are creatures of habit. And if you don't inject something new into your routine of how you already exist, then nothing really changes. And that's what Dr. Joe's premise is. Nothing changes in your life until you change your energy. And changing your energy is literally just changing your thoughts and changing your emotional reactions because Dr. Joe says your personality, which is your thoughts and feelings, is what creates your personal reality. So if you're thinking the same thoughts every day, feeling the same emotions every day, your energy is not changing. And therefore, not a whole lot of room of possibility is left there for you to experience. So, changing the little things, I don't care if it's, hey, I'm going to walk 20 more minutes a day. You know, something as little as that is big because in that 20-minute time period, if that's something new for you, as you're doing that, you never know who you're going to encounter. You never know what thoughts are going to come to you, what downloads you're going to receive from the divine, the ideas that come to you while you're walking, depending on where you're walking. You never know who you're going to meet. So there's a whole lot of room for possibility of something that you don't usually experience when you do something new. So this is something that I really I love about having learned these teachings from Dr. Joe to really implement new things. And I've become a whole content creator, y'all. I became a whole content creator on this journey. putting out 3 pieces at minimum of content per day. So that's something new. That's how I stepped into my newness, my new self, the desires that I prayed for. I started thinking in the direction of being that already. By allowing those thoughts to permeate, I started feeling into it and then I started acting on it. And I showed up for multiple weeks to do this with you all. And you all basically hold me accountable. That's why I decided to do it publicly, because I feel like once you put it out there, you got to stick to it, right? If I Drake has this line, I'm a hip hop head, by the way, but Drake has this line where he says, "I ain't trying to look like a lie to these ninjas." He said the other word, but I said ninjas. But I ain't trying to look like a liar. If I said I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. That's just how I move. I like to move with integrity. I like to stand on my word. And if I say I'm gonna do something, I try my best to do it, or I'm gonna let you know why I can't do it if I can't do it. But either way, you're gonna get something, right? Next question for the prompts is, what did this journey help you remember about yourself? Right? Because this is some this is some heavy stuff, y'all. Like, people be going back to their childhood and recognizing traumas and all kinds of things. But then there's the beautiful side of what they get to remember about who they really are. And for me, is how creative I really am. I got so lost in my life, the day to day, some of the challenges I've had to face, that you forget, like, I'm really her. Like, I'm really, wait a minute, like, I created this, that, and the third, and it flows to me in certain ways that are so much easier. And I almost forgot about that. So for me, this journey helped me remember my creativity. It helped me remember my love, how loving I really am. I started reflecting on how much I show up for people when I'm not looking for anything in return. I just love to love. I love to give. And ironically, my birthday's on Valentine's Day, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but in this 3D, Valentine's Day is the day of love. Jermaine says, change music of high hand positivity frequency, high and positive. Yes. So, Jermaine, to that point of changing music, I am a hip hop head, right? Like, I grew up on it, but I do find myself being very intentional about what I play these days. So some songs I can't even listen to. I'm not going to even lie. Like, the affirmations that are in them, it just has to resonate with me. It depends on the space that I'm in. But for the most part, I try not to listen to anything dark and violent. I like the motivational stuff, the get to the money stuff. I like the, I'm gonna accomplish this, that, and the third. I like the ambitious hip hop. I don't really like the violent dark stuff, right? So high positivity and high frequency for sure. But yeah, I want to know, what did this journey help you remember about yourself? Drop that in the comments. And then we're going to go to the next prompt question. And that is, when you feel yourself falling out of alignment, what brings you back? Ooh, that's a good one. That is a good one, because I think along this journey, y'all have probably witnessed me have a few breakdowns. I didn't cry in the camera, but I told y'all when I started spazzing, or I told y'all when I was triggered, and I talked about how I had to come back to myself. But when you feel yourself falling out of alignment, what brings you back? Jermaine says, the younger child inside me that still dreams and still believes in me. Ooh, that's a good one, Jermaine. That's a really good one. For me, it's the breath. Like, I don't care how bad it is or what's going on, even if I'm in the middle of a good cry, if I just, like, make myself really present and just take a deep breath, sometimes I'll hold it on the inhale or the exhale just to feel into my body. But when I do that, I'm able to come back to the present moment and recognize that whatever I think is a problem is not really a problem. It's just how I'm perceiving it. I don't care what it is. I'd be like, yeah, no, because if I weren't telling the story that I was telling, it wouldn't affect me as much as it did or does. And so the breath is what brings me back to myself when I found myself falling out of alignment. The next prompt question is, and it's actually the last one, and is, what would your life look like if you fully embodied the version of you who already has what you want? Ah, that's the best question right there. 732 hertz, Jermaine. What's that? High vibrational frequency. What is that, Jermaine? But what would your life look like if you fully embody the version of you who already has what you want? Purple girl Barney over here is asking the question. By the way, I cannot believe that my camera just turned me purple and it didn't turn back. I don't know what that's about, y'all. Vibration of frequency, prayer. Okay. All right. You know what? I just learned that the Schumann resonance, which is the frequency of the core of the earth, which I think they said is made up of mostly iron, is actually, I want to say, is that the frequency 732? I want to say it's something like that. It's either 732 or 7.32 something. Um, Jasmine said, I'd be blessing my family and friends and living for the people. Oh, that's so good, Jasmine. Look at you already wanting to give. And that's exactly what Joe says. When you do this work and you feel whole again, a whole person only wants to give because you already feel like you have more than enough. And from that point, you just want to share. So that's what I love about that, Jasmine, that from your wholeness, you be blessing other people. I love that. And I love that for you. And I love that for the people in your life. Jermaine says, is that Jermaine? I'm a mom of 10, and I realize God has never left me. He's given true love and joy all. Amen. Amen. You're welcome, Jasmine. Amen. For me, I love that during this process, I got to create my mind movie, which I had my mind movie for like 2 years, but I went back to it. I had like two mind movies that I created, but I got to go back to my mind movie and remember my why, and my life would look not a whole lot different than what it looks like now, ironically, because I feel like I manifested enough peace within me that what I thought I was chasing, like, it could come into my life instantly. It could come into my life right now and it wouldn't like drastically change my life. And that's what becoming supernatural is really about. It's about being your future self now so much that the things that you think you want, by the time they come, it's not like a wow factor. It's like a duh. Like, yeah, that matches with me. I'm being who I need to be for that. Like, you don't feel imposter syndrome. Does that make sense? Like me saying I want to be a content creator or I want to retire being a content creator, but through flow, not hustle. I don't want to hustle for nobody for another day in my life, if I'm honest. I'd never want to have to hustle again. Okay. Like I took hustle out of my vocabulary. I've been doing that my whole life. I know all about it. I'm trading it in for something else. I'm trading it in for flow. So for me, I've learned how to do the kind of content that aligns with me to the point where it doesn't feel like work. It feels like flow. It feels like fun. The videos you guys see me make, it feels like I love putting this kind of content out. I love putting out positivity and putting out things that help people remember who they are and make them feel better about tackling the day and understanding that they have everything within them to do whatever they want to do and be whoever they want to be. Like, I love that. And I do that. I've been doing that my whole life for free. I do that when nobody's looking. And that's what I encourage each of you to do. Like, find the thing that you love to do and be, even when no one's looking, even when you're not getting applause or feedback. Do more of that, and you're going to really be walking in your wholeness. So by the time certain opportunities that I do have on my vision board or in my mind movie, when it does come, I'm already the person who I need to be to maintain it because I've been showing up. Like, I've been creating the content. I didn't stop. If a brand deal comes my way today, I'm already in a flow. Does that make sense? Put some heart emojis if that makes any sense, because I feel like I go on these tangents and I don't know if I'm making sense after a while. But for me, my dream life, if I fully embody the version of me who already has what I want, it's more money, obviously, right? Because who doesn't want more abundance? I could do a lot more. I could be a lot more creative with more abundance, but it's mostly I'm still me, y'all. I'm like, I don't see it really making a huge difference because I feel like I wake up tuning into that version of me every day, asking myself, what would she do? What choices would she make? How would she move? Even in this moment when my screen turned purple. And I'm like, what would my future self do? Because the old me would have been like, oh no, let me shut this down. I'm gonna start the stream over. I don't know what's happening, but I'm not doing that. So yeah, like what would your life look like if you fully embodied the version of you who already has it? And so before we even move on fully from the close of becoming supernatural, for good, right? This playlist is gonna live on. It's gonna be on my channel. You're gonna be able to watch it whenever you have the time to, whenever you feel called to go back to the work. If you put it down and come back, if life gets in the way, and sometimes it gets in the way, as Dr. Joe says, the hardest part of all of this work is making the time to do it, which is absolutely true. But I want to take a moment to reflect on some of the stories, the studies from chapter 14. And it's because it's one of the most powerful reminders of what's truly possible when we dare to trust the unknown. If you remember, this chapter isn't theory, it's lived proof, it's case studies. It's real people who stepped into the work and witnessed the supernatural. And it started with a woman named Stacy. They shared her story. She suffered from excruciating headaches for over 25 years due to meningioma, which is a brain tumor. And it caused her to lose some of her hearing. But at a Dr. Joe Dispenza workshop, after hitting a moment of doubt, she experienced spontaneous healing. And just like that, her body responded to her coherence. She was no longer in a state of fight or flight. She's not fighting her familiar environment. She's at a workshop. The energy in the room is very heightened because everybody's tuned into their frequency and raising their energy. And it happened because she just surrendered. And that reminded me of so many of us are trying to figure out with our logical mind how to change our circumstances, how to heal our bodies, how to, shift into a better timeline, a better version of ourselves. But it's when we actually just let go, when we tune in, when we feel something greater, that miracles will unfold. They don't happen when you're efforting because you feel like you have to force, manipulate, or control. That's a very different energy than surrender. So I want you to pay attention to that common denominator. So from Stacy, and then in part two, we meet Janet, who during a mystical experience, she heard the phrase, "You are mine. You are mine." Now, some might hear that and feel a little fear. I ain't gonna lie. Like when I heard it, I was like, girl, what? But for her, it translated to, I love you more than anything in this world. And for her, she felt like, I've always heard that the divine will speak to us in the language of our soul, right? So she might have heard the words, you are mine, but her soul understood it to mean, I love you more than anything in this world. And then something clicked for her. She finally surrendered to the divine intelligence, not as something outside of her, but as something she could commune with. And she gave her life permission to be guided. She told the divine, come into my life and take charge. And that in and of itself is a form of healing because she said, I don't have to carry this burden by myself anymore. I can trust something greater than me. Come into my life and take charge. And that was dope. And then later in the same section, we read about this telepathic exchange between two friends. One of them had entered a deep meditation with Dr. Joe Dispenza virtually. She was on a virtual meditation. And she radiated so much love. And across time and space, her friend, which was hundreds of miles away, felt it. She was walking through a garden and suddenly felt her friend's presence. So she sent her a text message basically saying, hey, I thought of you and I felt you. I love you. And that begs to, step back and question like how much we actually feel each other. How many of you have experienced where you thinking about somebody and they call you out of the blue? Or vice versa, the other way around. Somebody's thinking about you and you reach out to them. Or you cross paths with them and it's like, oh, I was just thinking about you. Really? I was thinking about you too. Like That's not a coincidence, guys. We're learning from this work that we are all in a pool, a unified field of consciousness, right? And we're all influencing and affecting one another. And even Neville talked about this. Neville Goddard talked about this. I forget which one of his lectures, but he talked about this, and he talked about how, in his own way of explaining telepathy, and I put quotation marks because, but he basically says that we exist for each other within our consciousness. So we're never really separate. We could be in two totally different places, but if I think of you, you're with me. I'm connected to you because I'm connected to you in thought. And that to me was like, whoa. So the fact that she's in this meditation, feels her friend, feels love, and then her friend happens to be hundreds of miles away walking in a garden and thinks about her as she comes out of the meditation, and boom, sending her a message of love. I felt you. To me, this is a supernatural in its purest form. And this is what happens when we understand we're not just physical beings, we are electromagnetic fields connected through the quantum. And then finally, in part, not finally, but in part three, a woman named Donna helps souls cross over. Now, that little section right there, if you guys watched my video on that, I was like, I don't know about that one, right? Like, I don't know about that one. I'm not ready to experience that kind of stuff, but I have much respect for those who have clairvoyant gifts and who can commune with those who have made a transition. But during the meditation, she sensed some stuck souls, souls that had experienced sudden violent deaths. And she helped them transition back to source because they were stuck in limbo between these dimensions and they didn't know how to, you know, I guess return to source. You know, they were lingering around their loved ones and things like that. So this story was very multidimensional, and while it might stretch some people's beliefs, it shows the power of a coherent, loving field because even souls feel it. Even those who have made their transition can feel your coherence. Like even consciousness that is past can respond to it. And that's what that section kind of showed us. And then finally, Jerry. Jerry's story was my absolute favorite. And Jerry's story was my absolute favorite because it broke me open. Jasmine said, "Thank you for this. I'm on this journey that is difficult to explain to others that are not. I'm constantly listening to Michael Beckwith, Neville Goddard, Wayne Dyer, and no one to discuss it with. Listen, there's way more people who understand this work. Find your tribe. This is one of them, right? All the people that you listen to, that you tune in with, there are communities of people who tune into that kind of information. So find your tribe, Jasmine. They exist, and the internet makes the world a lot smaller so you can reach out and connect. And that's exactly what I did. And I've shared that before. Like during the pandemic was really difficult for me. So I found a community of people who meditate because I like to meditate, but I also like to hold space for other people. And I found that community, and they were way in London. So we were on a different time frame, but I meditated with them regularly every week for like 2 years. So find your tribe, Jasmine. They exist. Your vibe attracts your tribe. So whatever you're on, go look for people who are on the same thing and you will find your tribe. But Jerry's story, y'all, broke me open because he was literally on the brink of death. He was rushed to the ER with excruciating pain, almost died while there. He was rushed to the hospital, and the people around him, the doctors included. By the way, he was a paramedic or something. So the hospital he went to, people knew him. Some of the doctors were his friends. They panicked, but he did something totally different. He tuned in. He centered into his breath. He blessed his energy centers. He remembered what he studied in You Are the Placebo, which is Dr. Joe Dispenza's other book, but teaches the same things. And he realized, I cannot afford to stress my body further. He literally had a moment where he could have freaked out because the doctors were like, we might lose him. And he said he didn't want to think a stressful thought because he didn't want cortisol pumping through his body. If you know what cortisol is, the stress hormone, it's that hormone that kicks in when your adrenaline should be up because you about to run, you in fight or flight, or you stressed out about something. He said he could not afford to let cortisol push through his body because it wasn't going to help his organs. That's incredible. To catch yourself in the middle of your own chaotic moment where your life could slip away and still find a way to calm yourself down, like that is supernatural. That is a superpower. That's some Marvel type stuff. That story hit me deeply. And I even recorded a video about it because I felt that too. There were moments where it would be so easy to spiral into fear, y'all. So easy. But instead, you say, no, I've done the work. I'm doing the work. I've trained for this. And that's what this journey is really all about. That's really what it's all about. We're not just meditating to escape life, y'all. We're regulating our nervous system. We're embodying coherence. We're practicing clarity, presence, and emotional strength. When life comes at us, we respond from power, not panic. That's what becoming supernatural is all about. The people you see on Dr. Joe's channel, Stories of Transformation, these people are getting terminal illnesses diagnosed to them. They could freak out. That's the natural response. That's the practice behavior. You get some crazy news, you freak out. But when you become supernatural, you recondition your body to a new mind. You understand your power in every circumstance is to maintain coherence. The solutions can come. Your body can calm down. Jerry literally pulled himself from the brink of death because he did not panic when he had every reason to panic. His body was failing. He was dying in the ER. But this is what becoming supernatural is all about. You don't react anymore. You respond. Okay? Yeah. At any rate, I did get a few questions. You guys know I do answer questions that people submit prior to my lives. This one person says, what's the common thread in all of these stories? Surrender, trust, a whole lot of trust. Jerry had to have a lot of trust, had to surrender the outcome. He could not control it, but he could control his breath. He could control where he allowed his thoughts to go. So I would say a lot of surrender. Every person had to let go of control and tapped into something greater. Whether it was divine intelligence, love, coherence, or trust in their body's own wisdom, the healing didn't come from doing more. It came from aligning. Yep. Another person says, how can we use these stories to guide our own journey? Whether it's these stories or the stories of transformation, Jasmine said it, faith, trust, coherence, when surrender, those are all a similar frequency. These stories are basically mirrors, right? There's no expectations. They just go into it seeing what's possible for themselves, right? When we see what's possible for other people, we stop asking if it could happen and we start asking when is it going to happen, right? Because that's the shift. These stories show us that we're not waiting on the miracle. We're learning how to embody the miracle. Jerry learned how to embody his healing before he got it. Literally dying, possibly dying in the ER according to science, right? But he's training himself to be calm. He's saying affirmations. I am well. I am safe. I am whole. Not just saying the affirmations, but allowing his body to feel into it so it doesn't freak out. That's allowing his body to be in homeostasis. He can then heal from that space. You can't heal from a wrecked nervous system. You can't heal from dysregulation. I'm sorry. It doesn't happen that way. You can heal when you calm down, when you're restful. You can heal when you're coherent, when you can elevate your frequency, right? So we're not waiting for the miracle. We're being the miracle. We're embodying the miracle. We're embodying the energy of the miracle. Who would I be if I was already healed? That's what Jerry was doing. He was being supernatural, as if his body were healed, even though it wasn't quite healed yet. But over time, Jerry got his healing. All right. So, next question. What's one practical thing I can do today to become supernatural? Tune into your body. Be aware of where your thoughts are. Be aware of your program. Right now, you can breathe into your heart, do a heart brain coherence meditation. The Heart Math Institute has a channel here on YouTube. They have 5-minute meditations. They explain what they do what the meditations do scientifically. Joe did that already in Becoming Supernatural. But if you ever need like a little refresher, he works directly with the Heart Math Institute. They have a channel, they do a lot of collaborations together. And a lot of his work is based on the premise of their science at Heart Math Institute. But 5-minute meditation, breathe into your heart. Feel gratitude as if the thing you've been praying for has already happened. Just like Jerry, you have access to peace at any moment. It's just, what are you choosing to tune into? Right? It's a choice. Even in the midst of chaos, what are you choosing to tune into? And peace is the portal to everything. It's literally your doorway that you have the key to. And all you got to do is choose it and turn the doorknob and open the door and walk through it. And I'm telling you, like, just that choice alone changes everything for you. It changes everything for the people connected to you, the circumstances that you're connected to. Your peace is an electromagnetic frequency. It's a part of your aura. And you take you wherever you go. Wherever relationship you're tied to, whatever circumstance you're tied to, you take you wherever you go. So imagine showing up as peace, embodying peace in the midst of everybody else's chaos. Your frequency becomes the magnet. You become magnetic because anybody who's dysregulated, they really just want peace. They don't know how to necessarily get it. And that's why we force, control, and manipulate when we don't know how to change things from inside. We don't understand how we really work. We don't understand how these things go. We try to force, control, and manipulate external circumstances and people to get what we want. And really what we want is peace. We want wholeness. We want validation. We want to feel complete. We want to feel abundant. And we chase people and things and circumstances to do it. But it's really something that we cultivate from within, our moment to moment choices. So where do we go from here? We keep going, y'all. We keep going. We keep embodying this work every single day. We keep showing up for ourselves. We keep choosing ourselves. Um, if this series touched you, even just one chapter, there are a few ways that you can support. You can grab a copy of my vision book journal, which it looks very purple, just like me. The link is actually in my TikTok bio. It's on my website, and I'm going to update the link here on YouTube, so it will be there as well. It's the perfect companion to this journey. You'll find the link in my bio. It'll take you to my website where you can order it directly from me. I do have a box of copies here, and those who order the copies that I have on hand here will get a personalized little note from me. I'll even ship it out personally within 1 to 2 business days. Next, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, y'all. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button because that lets YouTube know that my content is resonating, that people actually want to see it. And that's what helps more people find it who may be looking for it. The full playlist is there so you can revisit it anytime or share it with somebody that you love, somebody that you want to be on this journey with. Also, like, comment, and share. Even dropping a heart emoji in the comments tells the algorithm that the content matters. So if you're watching any of the videos in the playlist, even if you're watching it in hindsight, it does not matter. Any like, emoji, or any kind of comments in the comment section lets the algorithm know that the content is resonating with you and that they can share it with more people. So the more you engage, the more people can find this series and walk this path with us. So this isn't the end. This is just the beginning. We don't have to wait for the perfect moment. We become it. We embody our truth. We shift timelines. We radiate coherence, and we walk boldly into the unknown. Yep. And that's it, y'all. We just keep embodying. We keep tuning in. We keep showing up as the version of ourselves who already knows who we are, that we're loved, that we're whole, that we're abundant, that we're powerful. And if you want to stay tuned, keep up with me. I'll be on TikTok. I'm actually going to make my full transition probably in March. If you guys have been reading the headlines, TikTok is changing a lot. And I don't know how long we're going to be able to exist. I'll be able to exist over there, but I've been ushering my audience to follow me over here because the same way I show up there is the same way I show up here. So The same TikToks I post there, I post them in my shorts here. So if I have to stop over there, I'll continue over here. So you can get it directly um, from my profile, the link to my TikTok if you're not already following me there. And if this video series has helped you at all, again, subscribe, share it with somebody else. I'm so, 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 so proud of us. I'm proud of me for showing up and continuing to show up here and share this information that has really changed my life. I'm proud of you for showing up and being brave enough to become supernatural. This book may be finished, but this journey is just the beginning. We're not becoming supernatural anymore, y'all. We are supernatural. Now, let's live like it. Let's live like it. Stay locked in with me. Stay tuned for what's next. Lock in with me. I love you guys. Whenever you're watching this, thank you for sharing space with me and caring about this work as much as I do. Purple and all. I love y'all. Bye, guys. Good night.